Hello, this is Jason with LMGI, continuing with SolidEdge fundamentals. We're using SolidEdge 2019. We're going to start with a synchronous model and show you how to mirror geometry instead of recreating it. So your mirror command is here. You'll notice it's disabled because it does require that you select something first, and then you see the button lights up. So we need all of this geometry, including the holes, mirrored to the other side. Again, selection is key in synchronous modeling. You need to select just the right amount of geometry, and we do need a mirror plane. So if one doesn't exist and your part is not modeled about the base coordinate system, which it should, you can use the base coordinate system as a mirror plane, or you can make a plane if you have to. I've turned on the front plane to make it a nice big hit target. So I could just select all this geometry on the left, and you might think, well, that would be a good solution. That's pretty much everything we need. And then I go ahead and start the mirror. But you will notice that you get a nice preview, first of all, obviously, and it looks okay, but sometimes if you pick a little bit too much geometry, you won't get the results you want, and it's hard to describe why this happens. I think because we picked the end face as well, it's attempting to heal up the holes, and it's just a little bit too much geometry. So the answer is actually really easy. You either selectively pick your geometry from Pathfinder, because it is kind of still feature based, which is fine, but after you get to understand a little bit how the topology solves, I can see that if I just remove these, we don't actually need the steering wheel for anything. If we just remove these faces, and that leaves us with the geometry that we want to mirror, this should work just fine. And you see it mirrors the hole data and the pattern. Does a very good job. So selection is key. Let's take a look at the vice base. Now I've deliberately moved this vice off from the base coordinate system to illustrate something. And again, we're going to do a mirror, and I'm going to grab a foot. You can see my cursor has got the plus minus on it, so I can just immediately continue to add geometry. But I do need to make sure I pick this bottom and the ends. It seems like kind of extra. If you don't pick enough geometry to surround the copy that's going to be created on the other side, you'll end up with a hole, and it won't be able to make a solid. So again, I'll select my mirror plane. Now, there's a padlock on the mirror in synchronous modeling, and it's an option, but in this case, we really want that in because it will create kind of a local symmetry. So now that worked, that solved the way I want. When I make a change here, it's going to change symmetrically, where normally you wouldn't get this behavior if your model wasn't designed about the base coordinate system. So that's kind of the big points with synchronous modeling. Now let's see how the workflow would be in order. This is an ordered model. So mirroring in order is very feature based. You can actually mirror just a face or two, but it's very rare that you would even want to do that. Now the command, oddly enough, is available. It's just a little bit different workflow because it's ordered is very feature based. You can start the command, but then it will require that you select the feature first. But also if you pre-select a feature and then you start the command, it will pick it and jump that step. So kind of watch out for that. You can always jump back to it. So we definitely want those two features, probably want the hole. And you also get this smart and fast when you're in ordered modeling. You see it with patterning as well. You could probably hit the help. Speaking of not helpful, so smart is used when the new copied geometry, either a pattern or a mirror, encounters some new topology that it needs to compute, do some extra computing. Essentially, if fast fails, you want to switch to smart. But in any case, we need to pick a mirror plane. If one didn't exist, I could make one on the fly. Pick my front plane, and then just right-click to accept. Now, this is a common message you get with a smart and fast. So it's kind of interacting with some new geometry on the ends. It's not quite sure what to do about it. So the answer is really just to switch to smart and do a preview. Apparently I didn't pick enough geometry, so let's see. I don't know how that got excluded. That's okay. So there's our mirror in ordered mode.